Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again this week for meeting the needs of your students with accommodations. We're really excited to be here with you once again. I'm Amy from Fried Technology, and
Hey guys, I'm Brooke Lowry from Fried Technology, and I'm super excited to be back with you today as well.
And I'm Jessica Powell, Alright with Fried Technology, and ditto. I'm super excited.
all right, well, cool. Let's get started and see what fun stuff we have in store for you today. First of all, just like every week, you can get these slides by going to fried.tech/10-27-20. And by the way, we will be back on Thursday this week, so please make sure that you sign up for Thursday's webinar. It is the last one in this particular series that we're working on right now, so make sure you're there. And also make sure to check out our free or not chart, which will help you understand what new features from Google are coming out and which ones you will or will not have access to, depending on whether or not your school district has adopted Enterprise. Well, we know that you guys are going to be excited about what we're talking about this week, and almost everything we're talking about, everybody is going to have access to. So that's going to be super cool. I'm most excited today because I know Brooke is going to show us how to translate closed captions in Meet. And she showed me once and it was kind of a mind blower, and I actually don't even remember all the steps to do it. So I'm excited to learn that today. And I'm going to start out today with talking to you about a couple of different ways to use closed captions. So first of all, I want to show you closed captions in slides, and then we're going to switch over to Meet, and I'm going to show you closed captions in Meets. Both of them are really cool. So in slides, first of all, this is really important to know. So I'm going to take my slideshow back for just a second so that you're looking at it in kind of the edit view, or maybe I won't do that because it didn't come up just now, but just know that if I exit, I'll see that present button in the top right. Do you all know what I'm talking about, Jess and Brooke?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you are, you're editing your slide deck, you own it, and in the top right, you see the present button. So that's how we start this process. So just know that. You're going to click the present button, and then once you get your slides open, and you hover down toward this bottom left area, you're going to see the captions button. And when you click on that captions button, that's going to turn on the closed captions, and it's going to start listening to everything you say. Apparently not today while we're on a live webinar, but normally you will see that type every single word I say at the top. And it's really not as fun if it's not typing. So let me go back and try to see if I can fix that, because I don't know, one of y'all may have to pull it up. It's just, like some days you have it and some days you don't. And maybe this day it's just not going to work out for me.
We're asking our computers to do a lot right now,
Yeah,
presenting and
we
streaming.
are.
So.
I've never ever seen it not work before, so maybe today is just not my day. But normally you turn on the captions, you start seeing what you're saying immediately. I think maybe it's because I'm already using my microphone for something else.
So.
But you can control the text position. You can put it at the top or the bottom, and the text size. And I usually keep mine on extra large. And it's super fun because it shows everything you type at the top. Fun little extra. Oh, look at that. It's going to start working now. How great is that? Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Look at that. Maybe I am living right after all. A really great thing about this, because I know you guys are teachers. A lot of you guys who are watching today are teachers. And so you're thinking what I was thinking when I saw this feature, because I was a high school teacher. And I know that once my kids saw this and we were doing this in class and we were there together, what would they do, y'all? Jess, you taught junior high. What would they do?
They would say things they shouldn't say.
They would shout cuss words, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would.
Yes, they would. And they would wait to see, is it going to appear on the screen? And I won't do it today because we were told there are, like, I don't know, 8,000 some odd people signed up for this, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I can tell you, you can go in the privacy of your own home, try to say cuss words to this, and it actually will not type them up at the top. Now, if you curse in Spanish or French, it will type the words. So FYI, if you know any curse words in Spanish or French, you can try that out too. But you can also on the fly switch to speaking a different language, and it will automatically know that you are going to parlez-vous some français, for example. Maybe not français, or maybe I just did not say it correctly. All right, there we go. Okay, so I just want to know, is anybody excited about captions and slides, especially now that you can see them work?
Well, I know I am.
You
Yeah,
really
exciting.
sound that excited, Jessica.
What
So
they don't
excited.
what they don't know is that we're watching every single word go up there to make sure that everything came out exactly the way she meant for it to come out there.
Yes, yes. We do have a colleague who had a mishap with this feature. And he was really saying text position, and that is not what came out on the screen in front of several hundred people. So you can just imagine what it might have been, but just enunciate. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm from East Texas, so I have faith in all of you.
So Amy, you can turn this on and off on the fly, right? If you activate it right now and then you're trying to do something like a spelling test or something else, then you can just deactivate the captions while you're doing that part, right? And will switch right off.
Yep, absolutely. So I can just turn it on and off right there. I like to keep it at the top because the bar kind of covers it up if you put it at the bottom. But all you have to do is just control that with this toggle right here, and then you can hover over your text size. And I like the extra large personally. Just easier for everybody to see. But I mean, hopefully people out there in the world you guys are excited about this because it's a really cool feature. And now, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you also said that the way to see this, like if they're looking at our slides right now with the link that we provided them, they're not going to be able to see this feature. What they would need to do is open their own slide deck or any slide deck from the editing view and then hit the present button. That's the way to see those features, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly right. And I just kind of figured that out actually right before we started today, because I had the published link of these slides opened up for myself and went down there to practice and realized the button's not there. So I have to be in edit view, click the publish or the present button in my slides, and then I will see those tools down there in the bottom left-hand corner. And this is where you get like the laser pointer and all that kind of stuff too. So there's lots of awesome tools down there to play around with. All right, are you guys ready to see this in Google Meet? We've got our team standing by.
Yep, and we already have a question as soon as we get going with that.
Okay, we already have a question about Google Meet.
The captions inside of Google Meet.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go take a look at them then. So I'm going to stop sharing that screen and I'm going to share a different screen so that we can take a look at Google Meet now. So let me switch over and you can see some of our lovely team members who are here with us today. All right, look alive, everybody. They can't hear me, by the way, so I guess I could unmute. There we go. All right, so here we are. And now we're going to be using closed captions and slides. And hopefully you can see those down at the bottom. Can you all see them, Brooke and Jess?
No.
No? Well, you know why?
Because they're only shown on your screen?
Yes, because every user controls their own captions individually, and that's why you won't see them unless you turn them on for yourself. So when you're in Google Meet, this is how you'll turn them on for yourself. They're controlled by you. I cannot turn them on for my students, no matter how much I wish I would want them to have them on. What I do is I go down to the hot dogs in the bottom right, and can you all see that on my screen?
We sure can.
Okay, great. So hot dogs in the bottom right, and then mine says turn off captions because I already have them turned on, but there they are. And so obviously this is working rather well in English, but Brooke, I hear you can use this, and I think you showed me that you can use this to actually translate live what someone else is saying too. Is that right?
It is. That is correct. And we do have a question real quick before we get into that.
Right.
Brian asked, is there a way to disable closed captions in Meet? Because there's some teachers who are trying to do different types of spelling work and tests over Meet, and the closed captions are a little too helpful. And I could understand, and that's pretty clever of those kiddos to turn on the closed captions. But from what I know, that since just like Amy said, students are able to turn the closed captions on or off for themselves. So they are going to have the ability to turn on those closed captions on each side. But when I read that, I was like,
that's pretty smart.
That was pretty clever.
Yeah, that's using your technology, kids. Right. It's not terribly ethical, but it is really clever. So
yes, exactly.
I don't know whether to give you points for that or not, but yeah, no, I agree with you, Brooke. I don't think there's a way that we can control whether other people turn these on, and foreign language teachers who are here today are going to be really excited to see what you're about to show the translation. And they're going to want to know, can I keep my students from doing that? But I think the answer is if they watch this webinar and know how to do it, no, you won't be able to keep them from doing it.
Exactly.
All right, are you ready to share, Brooke?
Yep,
I'm
I
excited
sure am.
to see
I
again.
will share
Okay.
my screen.
All right.
So I'm going to share. Okay, let me know when you guys can see our lovely team. You guys can.
There we go.
See?
Looks
Great.
good. Yep.
Okay, so this time when I turn on my closed captions, so I'm in my Google Meet, I've just turned on closed captions and I'm going to be able to see them. And as soon as they start picking up, which they are not.
It's just, we just talked about how fun live TV is. I mean,
we jinxed ourselves on that. I think
it's
maybe
a barrel of laughs. Yeah,
I'm
make sure you
muted.
run
There we
mute.
go.
That's probably why. Yeah.
Okay, so with my closed captions on, I can now click in the closed caption area, which meaning click, I'm going to use a right click. And when I right click inside of my closed captions, I'm going to have a menu that pops up and I'm going to click on translate to English. Now that sounds silly because I'm already speaking English, but I'm going to click on translate to English. And then now up here in my Omni box, which is the search bar, the address bar, you can click up here in the Omni box and there is a little Google Translate button that has just popped up there. It's a little icon. I see English, but if I click on these 3 hot dogs or the 3 dots right here, I can click and choose another language. And when I click on choose another language, I now can pick any other language that I would like to see these captions in. It also does the chat from what I hear. And actually, I think Melissa is the first one that showed us that it does everything. So I click to German, say translate. And there we go. It's pure magic.
Oh my gosh, there it is down at the bottom in German, or at least it looks like German. I've been to some German restaurants before.
Have you been to?
I've several, and so I do think that looks like German.
Well, I took a little bit of German, and I can say that the only thing I remember is "Mach die Tür aus," and I think that means shut the door. But we'll see.
Stephanie thinks you just cut. I saw her face.
I don't think so, though. It was shut the door. Well, that's what our teacher always told us, so maybe she was lying. So I apologize to anyone who speaks German out there in the webs that are listening. Y'all can all blame her if I could remember her name, but I don't. So, okay, so I'm going to go back to English, choose another language. I'm going to go back to English.
So, Brooke, this is not an enterprise feature, right? This is anybody can do this, right? As long as they turn on captions, they right-click on the caption and ask it to translate to English, and then from there they have that little pop-up in their Omni box that they can toggle between languages. So it's anybody can do this.
It's going to go back and forth. Correct. Exactly.
That's really cool.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Amy, my similarly named friend in the chat today, she's AMI. She said, I see Amy has a raise hand feature. When will that roll out? Does anybody remember when the raise hand is going to roll out?
I do not remember when, and I was just looking that up to make sure I say the right thing, but I don't find that yet. It's just soon. It's coming soon.
It is coming soon.
I think that's all the data we've been able to find about that is raise hand is coming soon. When you see it in our account, we have a special early access account we got because of you guys. Thank you very much. So we could do this webinar, and that's the information that we've been able to get coming soon. But yeah, it's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go back to sharing, Amy?
Wouldn't you like for me to go back to sharing?
I think our team that's just staring at the screen would probably like that as well.
Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing again, but I think Jessica is going to be walking me through what I'm doing next, right?
Yes, I am.
Good, because I'm not a fraidy cat, but I've never tried this before. Literally true, have never used breakout rooms yet in Google Meet. So I'm very excited to be learning along with you today. And hopefully you can see our lovely team who volunteered to be here today so that you could actually see faces when we do breakout rooms. So Jessica, what do I do?
Well, first things first, the breakout rooms right now are an enterprise feature. So not every user is going to be able to see these. So you get to be a G Suite user and you need to be enterprise. So we have all these lovely team members here on the call. And let's say we want to break out into smaller groups to do some, small group learning or small group planning. So Amy is the owner of the meeting. She created the meeting. She is the moderator of the meeting. And we know that because down in the bottom left, she sees that blue little shield symbol. So She's the moderator, and that's really important information because only the moderator can do this part. So Amy is going to go up to the top right corner of this Meet where you see the triangle, square, and circle. That's the activities panel. So when she opens the activities panel, she's going to get a little sidebar menu that says breakout rooms, and she's going to select breakout rooms. And once she does that, it's going to kind of give her a little wizard over here. And I call these the wizard because it's going to make everything real easy. When it first opens, it's in 2 breakout rooms. You see the 2 at the top? It says this has got 2 rooms. You can change that number to 2, to 3, to 1, to whatever you want. And it's going to kind of automatically regroup your students into those breakout rooms for you. That's kind of nice. Now you see underneath it says main call, and it shows Amy is in the main call. She's the moderator. She's in the main room, and it already has kind of preemptively put her students in these breakouts below. Now, Amy, if you click on breakout 1, just click on the words breakout 1, notice you can type something new there. So you can rename your groups if you need to. You can have the Redbirds and the Bluebirds or whatever it is that you have your different group names. And it automatically threw the students into those groups, but Amy can click and drag any of the meeting members and put them into different breakouts. So if she knows Elizabeth and Brooke work best together, she can pull Elizabeth down. And if she thinks Brooke might need to supervise some things in group number 3 because Alicia and Melissa can't be trusted, then she can do that. But what's nice is she can manually move them. Now, remember, it automatically plugged them into groups. And notice at the top, you also have that shuffle button. So she could randomly assign them to groups as well. So they're not in rooms yet. She's kind of doing her pre-planning, maybe while they're reading something or doing an activity. She's kind of getting this all set up. And now when she's ready, if she's got all the students in the room, she's got all the rooms she needs, at the bottom, she sees open rooms.
Should I click it?
Yes. And when she does that, it's going to send her students a message that they need to join their breakout room.
Where am I going to go?
So you're going to stay in the main call, but you're going to see something change on your sidebar menu right there whenever you hit open rooms. So
All
notice
right,
that menu changed to now instead of saying start rooms, you see the word join. So all your students are still in the main room until they accept the little message that says join your breakout room. There they go. You can see that Jacqueline and Elizabeth are still in the main room. Come on, Jacqueline, catch up.
It's not her fault. Poor Jacqueline.
She's just trying to keep up with us. So, but notice, Amy, that you can see all the groups on the right side, and then you can use the join button to join into those groups. So if you wanted to, there she goes. She finally joined her
This is
group.
like when your kids finally go to lunch and you're in your classroom by yourself.
I know, isn't that nice?
Right now, yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, if you want to join and check on them, because, perhaps you're not 100% certain that they're going to do what they need to do, because Jacqueline, she's already a troublemaker.
In there.
Yeah, you can just click join, and it lets you jump into their group. So their group is going to launch. Now, we've gotten a ton of questions about whether or not you can record your breakout rooms, and right now recording is not available in the breakout rooms. So you might be recording the main meeting, but the breakout rooms are not being recorded. And so now you're in there and you can interact with those 3 group members. And
it's a really cool feature.
Yeah, I love it. And let's just say they're on target. You don't need to check on them any longer. You can leave that room by clicking leave, or you can just click on one of the other join buttons over here on the right and join one of the other groups. So it takes you out of group 1 and puts you into group 2.
And they never know when you're going to show up. They can't see you walking over there.
That's correct.
Like in the real classroom, they're like, oh, she's coming,
Yep. We were practicing the chat to see if you could see the chat in our room.
If I could see it?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Let me see what you people have been talking about in here.
So you only see what happened since you joined. So you don't see the whole history of that chat, I don't believe.
That's what we figured.
Yeah. So those are just things to know about ahead of time. So, there's power in knowing what you're up against, right? So just knowing that the students can have the chat over there is fine, but you also, as the moderator or the owner of the Meet, can turn off the chat so that students can't chat with each other. Now, that doesn't mean you can't. You can still send messages. You notice at the bottom it says send a message to everyone, and that's going to send a message to all participants. So it's kind of nice when you do that. All right, Amy. So let's say you're done. It's time for students to come back together into the main meeting room.
Okay.
Click on your activities panel right there, and you go back to your breakout rooms menu. You can now see at the top, close rooms. So if you choose to close rooms, that's going to end the meeting or end the breakout rooms and bring everybody back to the main call. Now, you may have seen that little edit rooms button. If you saw that students weren't working together, you could also click that edit room button and switch the students around if they
Wow.
needed to. So you could definitely do that. But now when you do this, it's going to return all the students back to the main call, which I think is kind of nice.
This is such a cool feature. I'm being really honest right now. I'm not just faking it. I really had no idea how easy this was to use and how cool this was. Like, everybody's going to want Enterprise.
Yeah, it's a really great feature. So, I mean, there are ways to work around anything you need, basically. There's something on the web that will do every job you need. But knowing that you have the breakout rooms easily built into your Google Meet and able to quickly on the fly plug them in and drop them into a different Meet, I think that's super handy, and there's a lot of power in that. So
Yeah,
anytime
absolutely.
teachers are feeling like they don't have the resources they need, it's always good to know what they do have available to them.
So, Jess, can you talk about for just a minute? Because I know you created a way to make breakout rooms when that's not really possible. I know we can't go into it in depth today, but if there are folks watching today and they're thinking, I really, really need breakout rooms for something and I don't have that feature, what would you recommend that they do?
If I didn't have the breakout room feature, I would create a calendar events on my calendar and call it group 1. And I would create a second calendar event and call it group 2. And I would do that until I had all my groups created in a calendar event. It doesn't really matter what day or time. Maybe you put it on a specific day or time is fine, but putting a calendar event and adding a Google Meet to that calendar event creates a room, basically. And you can use that room over and over again. You can invite the students to that calendar event, and that way you have pre-created, maybe Amy, Jess, and Brooke need to be in a group together. So you add them to the calendar event, and then once you've done that, that's a room, and the students can go into that meeting often. And then you as a teacher can just open that up on your browser, open it up in a tab, and monitor the room. If you have multiple calendar events with multiple different groups of students in them, you could open all of them in a different tab and have all of them and just easily switch between tabs. So for me, when it comes to not having enterprise version and wanting to do something with breakout rooms, rely on the Google Calendar and just add the Google Meets to those calendar events and add the students you want in those groups to that calendar event. I think does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And oh, Amy, we can't hear you anymore.
Oops, sorry, it's my
There you are.
button.
Yeah, and just like Jess was saying, a Meet has a URL attached to it. So as long as you copy that URL, you could have a document that has all of those Meet links hyperlinked in a document or in a Google site that's on buttons or, anywhere that you need to navigate in and out of those URLs to the Google Meet.
Yeah, because making them a calendar event is making them
Right.
like a permalink. That link doesn't go away.
Mhm.
You can use it and link it and get back to it anytime.
Now, we have quite a few questions over here. Do we want to address some of those?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So going back to the translating feature for just a second, it says, will the translate feature be for the person that changed the language only? And the answer to that is correct. So if I need to translate my captions into another language, I have to turn on my closed captions, and then I have to go through the translating steps in order for it to translate, which is a great thing because if you have a student whose parents or the student need to see it in a different language, they can see it without interrupting the closed captions that another student may have turned on their side. And I think that answers a couple of them. They're pretty much, if someone is speaking German, would it translate the captions into English? Correct. So you can translate those questions, those closed captions into any language depending on, like notice when I first click it, it says translate to English. Well, it's going to stay on English. So if I need to translate it to another language from something that they're speaking, I can translate that as well.
And it's always good to know, and really it goes without saying, is that it's only as perfect as the person speaking. You saw
Correct.
when Amy was using the French phrase, if she didn't say it just right, maybe it wouldn't just catch it. So, it's going to have a few mistakes. It's artificial intelligence. It's not perfect, but definitely learning all the time. And so it's gotten so good at identifying words, which is amazing.
What amazes me is the speed of it, that you can read what somebody's saying so close to real time. I mean, I really do think I could speak to somebody who was speaking a different language and truly communicate pretty well with them I may have to ask them, could you rephrase that sometimes? Because maybe an idiom comes across wrong, but it really is amazing. And I guess that's the same technology that's in our Pixel Buds too that we have that lets you carry on a conversation in another language. I mean, just amazing. Well, we have about 6 minutes left. Do we have any questions that have come into our chat that we should talk about right now?
Yes, there are some for breakout rooms. Jess, do you want me just to read them out to you? Would that be easier?
Yeah, I kind of scanned them and I was looking at one of the answers because I don't know. Specifically, I'm talking about the transcript for the breakout rooms, and I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. I don't. So,
I do
Devin,
know.
yeah, go ahead.
And Devin maybe can help with that as well. But I do know that at the end of a meet, you will get you'll get the email. It's actually in the calendar invite too. You'll see if you were able to record, which is not going to record the breakout rooms, but if you did record, you'll see the recording if it's in the calendar invite, and then also you will get that transcript of your chat as well.
Yeah, I just don't know if it includes the breakout room chat.
Yeah.
That I'm not 100% clear on, guys. So sorry about not having that answer ready to go.
Yeah.
If I find it, I'll let you know.
Right.
We could add that to the presentation later.
Yeah.
If we're able to find that answer. I don't know this one either, from Jennifer. Do the translations show up in a Meet recording? My strong guess is yes, because that's something that's on the screen and it's recording the screen, but I haven't actually tried it. Have either of you guys tried that?
I would think your recordings in a slide deck would be recorded, but I'm not sure if the recordings in the Meet are actually captured.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's probably safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to investigate.
We will. We can add those two things to our slide deck if you guys are interested in the answers.
Yeah.
And Devin says she's about 99% positive that they do.
I'm on Devin's side on that. I feel like they do because I've seen those Meet recordings, and what it is a video of whatever's on my screen.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think if I have those on and I'm the one recording it. Now, I think if I'm recording it and I don't have them on and you have them on, they won't be there. But I think it's going to depend on who's recording it and whether that person has them on.
Yeah.
Great question.
So,
anyone have anything else we should talk about today? Or did you find
we do have one that says, can we talk about the safety of a nickname meeting when you go over to meet.google.com and being able to give the Meet name a nickname if you start it at meet.google.com.
I feel like you're telling me to do that. I'm going to do that.
She's going.
And while you're doing that, maybe I just wanted to confirm that I did write those two questions down that we didn't have answers to. So guys who are looking for the answers, make sure you get the link to our published slides so you can go back and check when we find an answer for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so here you can actually start your own meeting entering a nickname. And then that way, when you give the students, that helps with the security of the meeting as well with the nickname.
We have found that if your district has not done some things on their domain side, that the students could still get in and out of meets without the teacher present. So you want to definitely double check that your district has turned those settings on. There's a support document in the Meets support page about that. And that should eliminate any students being able to get into meetings without the
right. Yeah, I think the main concern was we talked about doing it in the calendar invite, and if you invite your students to it, then obviously the students can get into the calendar invite without you. Correct. Yeah, if you've invited them to that meeting through calendar, then yeah, they're going to be in there without you because you invited them to that meeting and they're able to get in. So those are just management tips as you're working with your students. That is up to your classroom management, up to your school, the regulations and anything that's come out from your district, how you handle that. But that is just another way to do it as well.
Hey, Jess, can we add to that Q&A slide that we're going to make that support document that tells tech directors how to set up students correctly so that they cannot join at least some meets without a teacher? I agree the calendar thing kind of overrides that. But how it should be set up essentially, because if anybody out there's like, this is clearly not set up right in my domain, you can send your tech director that article. Tech directors love it when you do that, I'm sure. Like when you bring your Google results to your medical doctor meeting, they really love it when you do that. So, but if it's not set up correctly, you probably do want to let somebody know because it is really important. Yeah. And I think that's about it. We may be able to answer one more really quick question if you guys see one in the chat that we should go for. But I'll go ahead and start wrapping us up, just in case we don't have another one, make sure you sign up for our last episode in this series. That URL is on the screen there. And just in case you did not get the URL to the slides, there it is in the top right-hand corner right there. It's fry.tech/10-27-20. There's our handy free or not chart that you have access to, and then that website so that you can sign up for the very last one. Man, we're going to miss you guys every week. Was there anything else we should add before we sign off?
I just want to make sure everybody knows to get that published link, because that's how you're going to get the answers to the Q&A. We won't be able to email it or do anything else with that. So just double check that link so you get it.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks you guys so much. I know I learned a bunch of new things, and hopefully everybody else did too. So that's it. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.